Stand up. And guys, please give your full attention to your colleagues as they describe the board design. Well, feel free to also come in front of the class if you desire. From here, where.
Well, our board game is a kind of small, fast-paced game about creating your own character. First of all, you choose like a selection of 5 parts of the body. Then you have to accomplish that selection of cards, choosing different cards that represent that part of the body, and then you end up creating like a funny, weird character. It's a competitive game. You are fighting against other players to obtain this card because everyone gets a random card of different parts of the body, and then you start assembling this character. Then you have special cards that are like bonus points cards that there's only one per game, and you need to fight for that card against the other players. And another way to have that card is paying to the game to be able to steal cards from other players once you know which player has the card you need for your own character.
Very cool. Any questions on this board game design?
Where's
the unicorn? One of the characters that you can assemble is a unicorn.
Okay. Where are your microtransactions?
You pay to steal cards to other players.
Okay. All right. There was a question right there. No, it's okay.
Justo me puse a pensar en el mismo. What are the strengths or the key points of the funnier points of your videos?
It's a competitive game. You end up creating weird characters. We were thinking the starting idea was like, okay, how do we create like a mixing gender, form, shapes characters? So we started like creating all shapes or forms, and then we started adding animals and characteristics specific. And the main goal is win. And the one who accomplishes all the checks of your character that you pre-assemble with the cards, random cards that you're playing, and fighting each other and having a weird character at the end because the cards are going to be assembled.
Are you encouraging some archetype of character, or is
No, completely different
the
thing. No, I mean, what do you mean by archetype?
like a traditional?
No, everything. That was the point of the game, have all the archetypes.
And you can assemble them
In every way. You end up having like, oh, you need a man with green hair with this body, ponytail and fox ears, and you start fighting for those cards to assemble the character.
How's your game called?
That's one point we didn't show. We have no idea. Oh, that's really good. We have no idea. I don't know what I'm creating.
We have to read the marks yourself.
Okay.
Questions? Any other questions? Or happy doggy?
Happy doggy sounds awesome.
Thank you very much. Okay, next. Creadores de experiencia. Let's present the concept.
Okay. We're over here. And as creadores de experiencias, we want to present to you the game sobremesa, meaning something like the talk and the chat actually after you take the meal with your relatives or friends.
So sobremesa is the name.
Yes. Okay. In this game, you impersonate an unicorn, one of several unicorns. Showing here, these unicorns meet together in order to get a meal they want garnachas. And for the non-Mexican one here, garnacha is street food.
Tacos.
For example, nice example. Perfect. We have several kind of unicorns. We have the taquero unicorn. We have the tortero unicorn. We have the where is my tablet?
UNETE.
We have the unicorn that likes quesadillas. We have the unicorn that likes pizza, and we went to several ones. This game, you play it by using several kind of cards. We have question cards. We have the coins, which are actually garnachas, and we have the unicorn cards. At the beginning of the game, you pick a unicorn. They have several special powers to be played among the game, and you've been questioning your mates at the sobremesa. You pick a card like this one of type 3, which is general knowledge, and this one says, "Who wrote Moby Dick?" You question your mate, and you put a bet in garnachas. I want your garnachas, so I know you don't know who wrote Moby Dick.
Oh, interesting.
If you answer to me correctly, I will give you my garnachas, and if you don't, I will get your garnachas. Of course, at the end, the people with the most garnachas will win. And we have several kind of questions. We have questions of what is my general knowledge. We have challenges. These ones, for example, say whistle like a truck driver, chifla como camionero. If the other unicorn are able to do that, he deserves your garnachas. Other ones are going to create an environment of knowledge among the players, which is my favorite band, which is the meal I hate the most. Of course, this is a family game. This is a competitive game. And there are several expansions, which are a way to present the microtransactions. The expansions have several themes of cards. This one, for example, a cartoon theme. Name 3 ponies from My Little Pony. This is the K-pop expansion. Which is the full name of the band BTS. And of course, you can add special packs according to mates who you are playing with. Of course, the winner takes the most garnachas. And this is mainly a game sobremesa. Am I missing something else?
Maybe the digital part.
Digital part, of course. We'll also have the option, of course, the game is great. You can buy it in stores. We have even the fleets and so. And there is great respalding the idea of the unicorn, the Mexican unicorns eating garnachas, of course, fat unicorns. But there is the option of fetching the app in the App Store and downloading the packs of the cards. And instead of having the cards, you can just touch the card and see which is the next question for your mate. And of course, you can get very easily get, I don't know, my 10 extra cards for K-pop.
Oh, interesting. So instead of buying them physically, you buy them digitally, and you can still play with the same rules.
Can be an expansion. Of course, can be instead of. But the main idea of the garnachas are so amazing. You have this little elotito, very nice that you will want to fetch. Believe me, you will like to fetch that.
I'll collect them all.
I'll collect them all. And of course, at the end, you must count them because everyone will want to take the house. Yeah.
This is an example of garnachas.
And this is sobremesa.
Bravo.
Thank you. Please.
Frankly, at one point I got lost and I didn't know you were selling me a board game or garnachas. You focus too much in the garnachas and not the mechanics of the game.
The garnacha is of course the support,
Yeah.
but the idea is to know your mates. It is the mingling among your relatives, among the people in the table, and that is the idea responding the themes of the questions. There are things like make 10 sentadillas, crunch, you know.
Yeah.
There are things like, let me see.
Like
What do I
scrupulous,
prefer?
right?
Beach or forest? Idea of know each other, but the idea of the garnachas likes us a lot, giving the Mexican flavor
Yeah.
of the game. Anyone else? That is did I answer?
Yeah.
You mentioned that there were different types of like players and unicorns, like one likes like pizza, one likes elotitos.
Yes.
How does that play? I didn't get that mechanic specifically yet within the game.
Oh. I was saying that. Thank you. But when you have less than 3 garnachas, you're close to lose the game. You can activate the power of your unicorn. For example, the taquero
Oh dear.
can override the turn of another player. Or the pizza unicorn, actually the video game expansion unicorn, can exchange the character with the power of another character, or of another unicorn. Or the Keka one can reassign the target of a specific punishment. I want she to do my lagartijas, my crunch, but I will get the garnachas.
Okay.
That is the idea of having several
Okay.
characters, and of course you can identify yourself more with the, I don't know, with the torta guy. Anyone else?
Awesome. Thank you very much. Cool. Next up, team faced.
Alright, so we wanted a very simple card game that you can just pull out with not a lot of rules. And the whole objective of the game is for you to have as many cards as possible before the end of the game. You actually lose the game if you lose the cards. Yeah, you're taking a picture of our zombie unicorn right there. Alright, so the theme is that the apocalypse has come and it's full of weird unicorns that are trying to kill us.
Woo!
And but the objective of the game is not to kill the unicorns because these are basically like Lovecraftian Cthulhu type monsters that just kind of drive you insane and they're going to kill you anyway. So you might as well screw with everybody else that's playing the game so you're the sole survivor before the unicorn eventually kills you. All right, so the game consists in the following. We pull out a monster, and the monster has a set of rules. And then we have a die, 6-sided die, that depends on what you roll, the monster is going to do some sort of attack. All right, so I'm just showing the zombie monster because that's the one. We also have a very cute unicorn monster here, and then unicorn corn. It's basically a unicorn with a corn in the. Okay. Anyway, so every player gets 5 cards, and the cards are mixed up. We got special cards that are full of weird type of Uno sort of like mechanics, which I'll explain a little bit in a minute. And then we have attack cards, which you can throw grenades, and you have a bloody knife, and you have a badass revolver that you can use to kill your other players. All right. So first things first, the monster pulls out, so you see a set of rules of the monster, how it's going to act. Then everyone gets 5 cards, random, and then the whole idea is in each turn you have to expend one of your cards and strategize if it's convenient for you to attack somebody else. If you attack somebody else, they're going to have to drop a card. So let's say that I use a knife, and I use the knife, and then the person next to me is going to drop one of the cards. And eventually the strategy is to leave everyone without cards except you. So if you still have cards by the end of the round and everybody's dead, you win the game. And each is going to be taking turns. We also have defense cards, things that protect you from other players that are attacking you. And eventually the monster is going to get its turn. So somebody's going to have to roll a die. And depending on the monster's rules, like we have rules that if it lands on a 1 or if it lands on a 2, everyone loses a card. Or maybe the monster brings out a friend and now you're fighting 2 monsters and you have to roll each die. So we designed it in a way that you have 5-minute rounds, and it's so variable that it's so that random factor that you can just play it again, play it again, and play it again. The idea with microtransactions is that you can buy more expansions. You have more unicorns, or maybe not unicorn themes if the publisher decides that, hey, let's experiment now with bigger unicorns and horses. I don't know, Pegasus with wings. And you can download those expansions, download new weapons, etc.
Unicorn zombies.
Unicorn. Well, you
Really zombie.
already have it.
You got them.
Or zombie corn.
It's zombie corn.
This is really scary. So the whole idea, it's very, very simple card game. We pull it out when you're playing with your friends at a table. Very simple rules, and basically the rules are on the cards. And the main objective, again, is just to make sure that you're the last one with as many cards as possible. That's about it.
Awesome.
Awesome. You said where the microtransactions are, right?
Yeah, so you can buy expansions. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
buy additional unicorns, or zombies, or random themes, or cats, evil cats that are taking away your sanity. I don't know. You have Lovecraft, you have Cthulhu monsters.
Are those bought during gameplay?
Sorry?
Are those you buy those expansions during the play, or
No. The whole idea is that you buy your starter pack, and then you'll see it in the store, your booster pack, so you can add additional monsters.
then those are DLCs and not microtransactions?
Are they? I think you're
I like
adding expansions to the game. No?
Right.
Yeah,
Like-
let's not get precious. I mean,
Like exploding
this is
kittens.
transacting efficiently. So.
That's okay. You're buying tiny little booster packs, just one little monster. A micro transaction.
Did your
Yeah, it's
chip?
like Pokemon, you just
Yeah.
keep buying cards and
Yeah.
How do you calculate the damage to the monster? That's the part of the mechanic that I didn't quite understand.
You're not combating the monster. The monster is going to kill you. So the monster is taking away
Oh, you
your cards.
Keeping everybody else.
Your life points are actually your cards that you put
Okay,
down.
so once you run out of cards, you basically have to.
That's right, and you can create strategies of should I use this card, should I keep it? I can maybe bet 2 cards so I can get another, because that's one of the special cards. And yeah, as long as you have cards remaining, when everybody's dead, you win. And then the monster will eventually do it.
Okay, so does the monster come after a certain number of turns? Is it a predetermined?
Yeah, we roll for initiative, and then the person that has the highest number starts the game, goes counterclockwise, and before the person to start the game takes a turn again, it's the monster's turn. And the monster's turn is basically you throw a die, and depending on what the die gives you,
There'll be an effect.
yeah, there'll be an effect that takes away the previous cards.
Okay. Any other questions? Sounds good. Thank you very much. Actually, there's one more question I have. What is the name of the game?
Evil corn is yeah. Or rabbit unicorns. I don't know.
Which one do you prefer? The first one. Evil corn.
Evil corn.
One word.
With a K.
It
needs to be catchy.
Okay. Next up, Team Artemisa.
All right. So, our game is called Unicorn Cupid. So finding love is tough for everyone, especially for unicorns. So you play the role of a unicorn cupid who's trying to couple unicorns together. But every player, it's a 4-player party game. Every player has a different mentality when it comes to how love should work. Right? So unicorns have certain variables like gender or there's like donkey unicorns and horse unicorns. And some cupids are very like big-headed assholes, so they will only get points for couples that are a male and a female unicorn of the same race, right? Other cupids are not big-headed assholes, so you can mix and match in different ways. So every player has like a secret role in the way they should match their unicorns. And you take turns moving the pieces around the board until you get 2 pieces to a little love hunt. And then you roll the magic thing, and you find out if your match worked out or not. Because love is a volatile thing, right? So the idea is to mind game your opponents into thinking your role is a different one. So they won't move pieces in a way that obstaculizes you, but in a way that helps you. And the way the pieces are laid out throughout the board, you can move through another piece. So you can set things up in a way that lets you achieve your goals.
Where do you microtransact?
Oh, there's, of course, expansions where it will expand the game for a bigger number of players with different exciting roles and different parts and pieces to create a whole different experience.
Okay. How many players is the original game before the expansion? 4-player game. And do you use a die to calculate your moves, or what is the mechanic to progress with?
It's one step at a time for each player.
Okay.
To make it very consistent.
Okay.
And what happened at each?
At each of the 3 huts.
Yeah. What happened? Yeah,
You just move around, trying to figure out what the role of each another player is. And you can move any piece in the board. So you can, if someone just moves a piece, you can move it right back. And it starts like a tug of war, and it forces you to strategize and have a plan B and C and D.
Gracias.
So even if the other players are moving a piece around.
you need to guess who is the other player? Or?
You don't need to, but that helps you understand what the next move will be and plan your own moves. Because certain player can only match certain pieces, right? So if a certain player moves 2 male unicorns, you're like,
Donkey unicorns.
and you know what you're up to. Then you're like, you will nuts.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Bad Boy Studio, Unicorn Journey.
Okay, so our game is set in the magical land of Excellent. In this magical land there are 3 kingdoms, and each of the 3 kingdoms, or there's a legend in each of the 3 kingdoms that there's a magical unicorn that if reached will achieve world domination. So the mission of the game is to build a road so that the king of each kingdom can get to the unicorn on the other side. So, because Heckland has constrained resources, they cannot build roads larger than two pieces between cities. So the game ultimately is about building your own network of cities so that you can reach the other side. But of course, everyone is trying to do the same. So when the other players try to build their own cities with their own networks, you cannot pass through their cities. So each time you encounter an enemy city, you will get a sort of combat phase between both, and you can sort of own their city and conquer their city so that your king can get through to the other side. There's of course the possibility to expand the game further by having different boards. For instance, we have currently a board configuration that supports up to 3 players. But if we have different boards, we can accommodate other players and also other types of strategies. Because of course, it depends on where you start and where you end. If you, for instance, start at each corner, you can go through a straight line, and that will give you a competitive advantage over the others. But if the board has different shapes, then the game can turn a lot more interesting and even support many more kingdoms. And well, yeah, it's a game about strategy. It's a game where you have to think where you put your cities and your roads, because if you're not careful, your own road network can be exploited against you. If the other player starts to attack your own network, and they can use the roads you already built to get to their city. So you have to defend the unicorn, and you have to reach it to sort of win the game. So it's straightforward.
Can you use a die to?
Yeah. If you enter a combat phase with 2 cities, what happens is if you place a road and there's an enemy city, you enter a combat phase with them. So each of the cities rolls 3 dice, and the one with the majority of 2 of 3 wins. If the defending city wins, then they get to keep their city, and you can't build a road there. You can, of course, build a road on the next turn, but then again, you can. Yeah, and there's a lot of different strategies. For instance, one player can sort of distract another by attacking a city while the other is building a road.
Where are where are the unicorns here? I mean, I know they are in the title.
The unicorn is the promised objective of each city. So there's a legend in each of the 3 kingdoms that the one that reaches the unicorn first will dominate over the world because of their magical powers. So the end objective is to reach the unicorn, and you start with your king, and the ultimate goal of the game is to build a clear path between your side and the opposite side, so that the king can go safely.
And the microtransactions?
The microtransactions can buy you different boards. For instance, right now with our board configuration, we can have up to 3 players, but we can add different shapes of islands that will shape different strategies. You can also get some upgrades to your cities so that they are harder to attack. For instance, you could have 4 dice while the other players have 3, or you could place more roads or cities per turn.
How do you get that? Do you pay for it, or do you?
We're planning to use a phone app so that you can buy the upgrades through the phone and use them, and that gives you.
Isn't that a little close to pay to win though? Like people that are actually purchasing those upgrades have a leg up on the.
Yeah, we were discussing about different alternatives to how we could monetize the game. We didn't want to go through the pay to win route. So I think the best or the mindless way to do it would be to simply have more boards available to the players, so that they can play different strategies. Because if if the board is always the same, one can learn a strategy and then apply it. But if the board changes with each iteration, then they can use different strategies, and if they play against the board of someone who is familiar with it, the other one will have a better ground. So that incentivizes players to buy other boards so that they can try out the different strategic scenarios. But yeah, we would rather go with the board theme than the domain word.
Sounds good. Any other questions from anyone? Did you understand the concept? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So what we're going to do now, I'll give you guys 5 minutes to kind of talk amongst yourselves and decide which concept is the best. And by the way, you cannot vote for your own. And you know, within the team, you can select different concepts. Like, you know, it's an individual vote after all. But it'd be good for you to have the conversation and decide which one seems most interesting. I'll give you 5 minutes. During this time, the publishing group will also try to determine which one is the choice.
Desde que las personas tienen se me hace como muy operador. Me hace aparte.
This is a video, right? Like people
Está por la buena.
Esto también yo ubico como perfectamente el target. Pero siento que es un target muy marcado. Ni siquiera podría, o sea, si acaso llegué pero ni siquiera pasaría y eso, por ejemplo, si lo veo mucho más global. Y al final ya global
Rich. Rich way. No encuentro mi cuadrito, cabrón. Mi cuadrito del iPad, del cable. ¿Lo habré dejado en la casa?
Pues este te lo prestaron.
No, es mío.
¿Hacías dos?
Sí. El del iPad y este, y ahora ya no. Pero según yo, cuando nos fuimos no había nada. El que más me gustó fue
Ah, pero fundación individual.
Me gustó el No, por eso. No estaba buscando nada, por ejemplo. No, por ¿por qué? ¿Se ve este?
Es como aquel que está allá. Y mi cable es como ese que está allá. El cuadrito, pero mi cable es inconfundible porque le puse 2 pinches resortes en las orillas. ¿Quién hace esa pendejada?
Okay, let's proceed to the people's choice vote. So the way we're going to do this is that I will go through each of the concepts. I actually took a photo of the board design for each of the teams, and then I will ask for a show of hands. So if you think that that is your favorite design, I would like to see a show of hands. Once again, please don't vote for your own design. You have to vote for somebody else's. Okay?
Can you vote more than once?
You cannot vote more than once. Very important. All right, unless you really must, but I would do it. Okay, so what you see right here is the concept for Happy Doggies team called Who's That Persona? How many of you think that that game is the best, right? If you think it's the best, please raise your hand and I will do the count.
It is a hand per thing?
No, it's per person.
You only vote once, and you only vote for one concept and not your own. Okay, so I saw one back there, yes?
What's
One,
about?
2, 3, 4.
You're voting for which one? This is for.
For Happy Doggies, Who's That Persona? Okay, all right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. 8 votes. Excellent showing. Creadores de experiencia. Sobremesa. Who think? Okay, so that's. Oh, no. This one.
Aww.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 votes. Team Faced. Evil Corn.
You like that one?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right.
Oh, we got a tie.
Oh
Oh shit. Killer round.
Artemisa, Unicorn Cupid. Who thinks that game is the best? Is how it. Oh. That's Unicorn Cupid. Okay. Got the publisher can award. I'm afraid. Okay, 0 votes. Oh. Sorry, sad. And now, Boy Band Studio, Easy for the Journey. Who is voting for?
There's a tie.
We basically ran out of votes, right? You wasted your votes on the other ones. All right. Cool. So we have a tie between Happy Doggy and Team Faced. Congratulations to both teams. Alright, so I didn't foresee see this scenario, but there is actually an award for
Wow.
people's choice. And I'm going to basically split all the... so everybody on those teams gets a little chocolate coin.
I thought it was gonna be a death match with a single knife and fight to the end. That would have been awesome. Sí, ¿no?
Thank you. All right, so the publishing team's favorite concept was Unicorn Cupid by Artemisa. And that's this one. We thought it was produced well. Obviously, you built your own board. It looked, it seemed like fairly easy to understand, which helps with sales. And it ultimately what made the difference for us is that it had love as a theme. That naturally engages and markets the title.
Bravo!
Unfortunately, I have only 2 coins left. You'll have to split these among yourself. Okay, so I have a question for you. This design exercise was meant to kind of show you like what an intervention into the game life cycle, development life cycle, can produce unforeseen events, right? All of you have had to like integrate the unicorn. Some of you made the unicorn a very central part of your game. For others, it was kind of a sideshow that you kind of tacked on at the very end. Both approaches are good. There's no question about it. But it creates a little bit of tension. Like you have to creatively reassess your game design concept. Then you had a timeline challenge. You had to like produce things faster than you initially were planning on. I think for some of you that maybe had an impact on the quality of the concept, the production of the actual board and design. And I wanted to make sure that you understand as a team how to handle those situations. A question that I have for the group: did you feel at any point that someone was emerging as a leader, that were making the decisions and kind of trying to get everyone else to cooperate and to organize for success? What is your experience? Yes, that was the case?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the leader do for Team Faced, for example? What did you feel that was contributing?
I mean, he helped us focus on what we were doing because we had many ideas and he guided us in what we were trying to do. And he also showed us the steps we had to do to make the game.
Okay.
And also he was very calm and everything, and that's very good.
That was the experience, and did you feel something similar? Or was it more democratic? Did you feel that there was somebody like kind of coordinating your activity? Cool.
You explained it.
And how did he help? How did you feel that he helped hone the design? He helped like kind of select the best ideas from the group? Okay.
He helped us.
Awesome. And for the boy band studio, what is your impression? I know that you had a little bit of unusual situation. Some team members like kind of came late. That maybe they didn't have a dramatic impact on the game design, I would assume. But did you feel that someone was kind of calling the shots from a kind of creative perspective, or was it more egalitarian and democratic?
You answer, no, you. No, you. You answer, no, you.
That's the answer.
Well, I think at some point we all voted for different things that we liked. I was trying to make sure that everyone got to show their ideas. I was just trying to follow the process, but in the end it was the idea of everyone.
Of course, everyone contributes.
Yeah.
What I was noticing as I was looking at you is that you were the one, the people were placing the pieces on the board and kind of constantly talking to the group members. So I think you were exercising a leadership role naturally right there, even though everyone's opinion was considered. At some point, somebody has to say, okay, this is how we're going to organize for success. So anyway, this happens regularly. We've organized this design exercise with many different groups in the past, and it's always the case, almost always I should say, the case that somebody in the group emerges as the coordinator. What this tells us is that the role of the producer is innate. It's not something that we artificially tacked onto the game development process. In any sort of social setting, if you're trying to organize humans, there will be somebody that takes on the role of the coordinator. And teams that don't have that, sometimes it happens that everyone wants to be democratic, everyone is very passive and wants, you use kind of a voting system to determine the best idea. But even in those situations, you will find that the teams that don't have a clear leader, they tend to move slower. They tend to be, very collaborative, so everyone has a voice that's actually quite empowering. The problem is that you don't do well under pressure. When you have a timeline, you have to make decisions fast, the type of collective decision making is actually going to slow you down. And that was kind of the point of this design exercise. It was not necessarily to make the best board game in the world. It was really to understand how group dynamics are working and why the role of the producer in a group dynamic like that is important. Okay, so that is the end of the design exercise. In the next part of the course, we will move into the game development framework and we'll look at production and post-production. But before we do that, let's break for lunch. So, congratulations to all. Thank you very much for participating. And let's be back at 1:30. If that's okay. We have an hour and 10 minutes for lunch.
Ustedes ganaron el Game Awards.
Game of the Year.
El 12.
A ver, chicos.
Los usuarios.
A ver, la noción de que ganaron. A ver, la señora.
Se olvida los demos.